Today, we're cracking open the case file on one of the biggest aerospace and defense contractors in the world, RTX. Now, on the surface, this is a story of record profits, unstoppable growth. But peel back a layer, and you'll find a completely different story unfolding. One that starts with a microscopic flaw and ends with a multi-billion-dollar crisis. So let's just dive right into the central mystery here, because it's a real head-scratcher. How is it possible that a brand-new, multi-million-dollar jet, we're talking an Airbus A321neo, designed to fly for decades, is being systematically torn apart for spare parts? It makes no sense, right? But believe me, it's happening. And the reason why? Well, it pulls the curtain back on a massive hidden crisis rocking the entire aviation industry.
And this is the heart of what we're calling the RTX paradox. You've got a company living in two totally different realities at the same time. On one hand, the Raytheon division is this defense titan building hypersonic missiles that are straight out of science fiction. But on the other hand, its Pratt & Whitney division is dealing with a manufacturing disaster that's got planes stuck on the ground all over the world. So you have to ask, what is really going on behind the scenes?
To really get this paradox, you first have to understand the sheer, overwhelming power of RTX's defense business. It's not just successful, it's a global fortress. Just let this number sink in for a second. $268 billion. That's not revenue. That's the company's order backlog. It's the value of all the orders they already have lined up. This isn't just a healthy business, folks. This is a company with years of guaranteed, locked-in cash coming from governments all over the planet.
And their product list, it reads like something out of a Tom Clancy novel. You've got the combat-proven Patriot missile system, Tomahawk cruise missiles, next-gen hypersonic weapons. This is the tech that defines modern warfare, and pretty much every major military power wants in.
And they are lining up, believe me. In just the past couple of years, countries like Germany, Spain, Poland, they've all signed these massive multi-billion-dollar deals for RTX's Patriot systems. So in the world of defense, RTX is king, no question. But while all the headlines were celebrating these huge deals, a crisis was quietly brewing in a completely different part of the company.
Okay, now here's where our investigation takes a sharp turn. We're leaving the battlefield and we're heading over to the commercial airport, because behind all that success, we've uncovered a tiny, almost invisible flaw with absolutely enormous consequences. The source of the problem is a name that's legendary in aviation, Pratt & Whitney, a cornerstone of the RTX empire. These are the guys who build the engines that power thousands of planes you and I fly on. But deep inside their manufacturing process, something went horribly wrong. The issue is centered on this one specific engine, their revolutionary geared turbofan, the GTF. Now, this thing was supposed to be a total game changer. Super fuel efficient, promised airlines huge savings. It became the engine of choice for the Airbus A320neo, one of the most popular jets in the world. But here's the hidden flaw. Buried deep in the company's own reports was the discovery of a, quote, rare condition. And what was it? It was a problem with the specialized powdered metal they used to make the engine's high-pressure turbine discs. We're talking about some of the most critical, high-stress parts in the entire engine, and this tiny defect could lead to microscopic cracks and potential failure.
And this is the part of the timeline that is just staggering. For 6 years, from 2015 to 2021, over 1,200 of these potentially flawed engines were built and put on planes. It took until the middle of 2023 for the company to finally disclose the full scope of the problem, which sent absolute shockwaves through the industry, and then boom, a $5.4 billion financial charge just to start cleaning up the mess.
You know, a single flaw might seem like something a giant company can handle. But what happened next was this catastrophic domino effect that has crippled airlines and maintenance shops all across the globe.
Just look at these numbers. As of late 2025, we're talking about nearly half of the entire global fleet of planes with these engines grounded. That's over 600 passenger jets just sitting on the tarmac, not flying, not making money. For an airline, this is an absolute financial nightmare. And here's why it's such a mess. This recall has completely swamped the system. An engine inspection that's supposed to take about 60 days is now taking over 300. 300! It's created this massive bottleneck of planes just waiting in line for a checkup, and it's not expected to clear until 2026. This has created a desperate, unprecedented shortage of working engines.
And that desperate shortage, well, it leads us to the most unbelievable, most shocking climax of this entire story.
This is where a bizarre economic reality is forcing companies to do something that seems completely insane.
Our investigation brought us to this quiet airport in Castellón, Spain. It's become the unlikely epicenter of this whole crisis. And what's happening there on the tarmac? Crews are literally tearing down airplanes. But these aren't old planes ready for the scrap heap. Nope, these are modern jets. Some of them are only 6 years old.
Even industry insiders are just shaking their heads. Austin Willis, the CEO of an aircraft leasing company, he called it a paradox. With everyone wanting to fly and demand for travel booming, why on earth would you scrap a perfectly good modern airplane? And here it is. This is the answer, the absolute core of this insane situation. Because of the shortage, basic supply and demand has gone completely haywire. A pair of working, certified GTF engines are now so valuable that they are literally worth more than the entire Airbus jet they're bolted onto. So it actually makes more financial sense for a company to buy a whole jet, rip its 2 good engines off to sell or lease, and then just scrap the rest of the plane. It's unbelievable.
So, let's step back and bring the two sides of our investigation together, the unstoppable defense giant and the struggling engine maker, all under one roof. This is the RTX paradox.
Look at this, it's like two different companies. You can see the two realities of RTX right here in black and white. On one side, the Raytheon defense business is just crushing it, a backlog of over $100 billion. And on the other, Pratt & Whitney is in a deep, deep crisis, responsible for grounding hundreds of planes and facing a mountain of lawsuits.
So think about that. You have a company that by all the normal metrics is incredibly successful. They're telling investors sales are strong, the outlook is positive, the stock is doing well, all while one of their biggest divisions is at the center of a logistical and financial catastrophe that is costing airlines billions of dollars.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling question. Is this RTX story just a testament to a company so big and diversified that it can survive any storm, or is the fact that brand new jets are being sold for parts a chilling warning sign that something is fundamentally broken in the complex, high-stakes world of modern aviation? That's something to think about.